Immediately middle income again. Well, my first experience in Bangkok is the driver hitting a bus. Not great. I think my impressions were partially just because I hadn't eaten. I've eaten. It was very good. And now I'm feeling better about the city. Good biryani. I would try to give a tip to the kid, and the owner said, "Give me the tip in Hindi," which I understood enough to understand. Proud of that. Or I did learn Urdu, but not going to say that. Unethical workplace practices aside, quite good. There's a Bangkok I like. There's a Bangkok I don't. This is the one I don't. Yeah. Nice park. But there's more of this and less of, well, what most of central Bangkok seems to be. I mean, I'm also going to try to get more suburban areas. Thailand's a pretty classic middle income country. Middle income in a weird way. It's middle power because Bangkok is hugely important. Walking down Bougie Residential Road at night. One day into Bangkok. Wasn't even intending to do anything today. And already, road walking hours are back with vengeance. The city's starting to grow on me a bit, especially after I've learned like my 10th Thai word, so I can like kind of stumble through some things. Yeah, people are nice. For a big city, it's pretty rare. Feels very safe. People with bags and stuff walking on the street, looking at their phones, so I'm not the only one. Back in my martial arts doing days, like, there was a teacher and there was like a person above them. And I mean, that guy came around like once every 2 years. We thought he was important. I don't think he is, in retrospect, but we thought he was important. We'd always talk about the story of the only time he had to use force was fighting off some random kids in Bangkok over his water bottle. So that always got the idea that like, oh, must be something where I could always look around, people are willing to fight over a water bottle. I have no idea how he did that now. That was not in the long past, I don't think. I have no idea. In the metro here, got the student card by speaking in Thai, so I'm proud of that. I fly all the way from Hong Kong to end up in another Chinatown. I mean, politically, Thailand is almost like a city-state with a very large region attached. And the importance of Bangkok is really difficult to overstate to the country. And I mean, when you have so much centralized in one city, it leads to advantages and disadvantages. I mean, you have services clustered. This is a major city of diplomacy at the same time. I mean, much more fragile, but things go wrong here. I mean, who's gonna save you, Chiang Mai? No. That is a beautiful view of the Chao Phraya River, which drains into the Siamese Sea, part of the Pacific Ocean. I mean, actually quite large. About as clean as the Mekong, just to say not very. Bit of a better view. Quite a crowded place. I mean, impressive to have the largest solid gold Buddha in the world, but at the same time, not really a place I think you have to go inside necessarily. One thing I'm loving so far, Bangkok seems to be an eminently wanderable city. Lots of interesting little alleyways, big streets, warehouses, like, I don't know. You turn and it's completely different. I found a Cantonese-speaking restaurant in Bangkok. I have spoken more words of Cantonese in Bangkok for the past like a month in Hong Kong. That's just so funny. As a person who has a 60-page document of personal reviews of every restaurant I've eaten in the past 3 years, I don't say this lightly. Currently, I've had 5 excellent meals in a row. Bangkok is on track for being the best food city I've ever been to. Oh my god. Just unfairly good and cheap. In an apartment, eating these Cantonese cookies. It's quite like Disneyland. Too many people. It's like more full than Angkor Wat in a tiny area. And I can't tell if that's just general Meru Temple Mountain Temple or if that is specifically Angkor Wat. Reminds me of Angkor Wat no matter what. Guy said I needed to buy a ticket to a different pier to see that. You lose, guy. You lose. You underestimate my willingness to walk in non-pedestrian friendly areas. Welcome to traffic hell. Random directions, people bump into you. This is a Red Cross fundraiser. Fascinating. People were huddled around to hear a singer that was not particularly good. Hundreds of people. People selling, like, army-related stuff. I deeply dislike shopping malls. It's kind of interesting being in places, though, where they're not decrepit, and instead actually places where people want to go. You know what's up with the O'Reilly Thai versions. Another day. Going to see if I can beat my record of seeing the amount of people with the elephant print pants in a group. Currently the winner is 4, which is surprisingly high. Some people do the whole elephant pants and shirt. I guess there are some places in Bangkok that are not completely crowded. Bad travel mistake that I was not punished for. So I saw some people just taking off their shoes, kind of in a store area, vaguely outside of temple. I took them off. Turns out I think they just didn't want to have their shoes on. And you're really supposed to keep them on here. And there were like 1,000 identical looking places. So I spent like 15 minutes searching for my shoes, hoping they weren't taken. And they were not, luckily. So my only pair of shoes that exist in the world are still with me. This is good. Or else I would have walked for like 30 minutes shoeless in a pretty non-pedestrian friendly area looking to buy shoes with the bot I have left. That would not have been great. You know you've been in East Southeast Asia too long when you actually start liking Pocari Sweat. I don't know, didn't film it, but this alleyway has an unreal amount of swagger. We've crossed the Rubicon, or something like it. Yeah, that little river has been taunting me on Google Maps for a while, so I found a bridge and I crossed it. Do I have an agenda here? No. Didn't have an agenda this entire day. If you know anything about me, I'm anti-agenda. Why am I going down this alley? I don't know, just turn left on a whim. This is a markedly different vibe than I think I've had so far in the city. I like it a lot. Kind of crazy. Each of those wires is put up by someone. All of those little strewn wires. Behold, an exceptionally sketchy parking lot. At Muknata, which I didn't know existed before today. is, I guess, the Korean barbecue equivalent. Very good. Checking out my last day in Bangkok. Wonderful traffic, but should be arriving in Kuwait at like 4 p.m. Sadly, that got delayed, so everything that cuts into daytime there is not great, but I think it's a city that's relatively alive at night. So we'll see. I have very few expectations. I know it's visa on arrival, so that's nice. Other than that, I'm just kind of excited to see what's going on there. Kuwait Airlines is rated the most improved airline in the world, which is not necessarily a tagline you like. That means that it started from a pretty low place to be able to improve more than any other airline. We'll see.